If it was released as a movie, you mean, yeah?
Yeah.
No, it was an internal project. It was never sold or anything. It was a test. Okay, so the recorder doesn't work, so I'm gonna have to show the movie directly here on the screen through this computer. Hold on, almost there. This is such a good picture.
University of Utah set up one of the first labs.
Okay, what is that? Have you seen it? I've seen it with my eyes. It's so huge. It's incredible. It's in Florida. They use this to go to the moon and come back. It's amazing. And it's next to Disney World, so it's good. It's a good trick.
Raise ignited funding in computer research for a select number of universities around the country. In the 1960s, Space Race ignited funding in computer research for a select number of universities around the country. In the 1960s, the University of Utah set up one of the first labs in computer graphics.
Okay, what happened? First, what is this? Do you know where is Utah? Where is it?
In Canada? No, what?
Canada. No. Try again. Utah. Japan. US. Okay. What is the most traditional city you can think in UAE?
Traditional?
That's the most traditional? Really? What's the most traditional area in UAE? Masjid. Utah is the most traditional state or city in the US, okay? Super traditional. Yes? Okay, and something else, some important information here also. What was that? There was the space race.
Space race?
The space race is when the Soviets launched Sputnik satellite before the Americans, and then the Americans said, oh, they beat us, right? We have to beat them. So they start spending a lot of money on what? Rockets, what else? Labs, what kind of, and he said something else?
They made the first lab.
Computers, and computers. Why do you need computers for the space race? To control the rocket. It's very complicated, you know? Like you go to the moon, come back, just a small angle wrong, you go to somewhere else, and you die. So computers was the only, it cannot be done by man. It has to be done by a computer. So the US government started investing a lot of money. How? Through research. So they had a lot of PhD students. Here's a ton of money to something. One of the places where they put money was this place, the University of Utah, which is where? In the middle of nowhere, so you can focus on research. Yes. Like, remember the California Arts Institute? That we had no car, the only thing we could do was to make movies. Same, a lot of focus on research. Make sense? Oh no.
Headed by the top scientists in the field, Ed Catmull, an aspiring artist, was among the few drawn to the potential in computer graphics.
I drew a lot. I wanted to be an animator. I wanted to be an artist. But at the same time, I believed that.
Who's this guy? What's his name? Yeah, okay, PIXAR. He became the PIXAR president, yeah?
He made Toy Story.
What?
He directed Toy Story.
Are you sure? Not sure about that.
No, John Lasseter.
No, this guy is not John Lasseter. Who's this guy again? Ed Catmull. Can you spell it? Sure? Okay, try with that one. Yeah. Very good. That's the spelling. Thank you.
Doctor, I think
Name?
John
Name? Yes.
John Lasseter was the director of
You want to bet some bitcoins? Who's right? Very good. Yes, I think so. Yeah.
I wasn't good enough to be an animator.
What?
So I switched over to physics and computer science. As soon as I could. First,
It's also very interesting. He realized he was not good. You know, he had no sense. I don't know why. So he changed his career. He had the courage to change. It's interesting, yeah? This guy is interesting because he doesn't talk a lot. He's not blah blah, not very flashy, but he's one of the few guys who thinks how people work and thinks how to improve the work environment. And 2 years ago, he wrote this book called Creativity Inc. It's a wonderful book. If you're interested in the inner story that went on in PIXAR, why PIXAR is so good. Why do you think PIXAR is so good, by the way? Anybody? Why do you think PIXAR is so good and DreamWorks couldn't make it so good?
because they used the 12 principles.
Say your name again.
Style.
Yes. What? Because?
Because they used the 12 principles of animation.
Good, but those principles were available to everybody.
They used it well.
So it must be something else. What?
They used it well.
They use it well. Good.
They didn't.
What?
They think differently. Yeah.
They think differently? Yes, definitely. Definitely.
They tried new things like using computer studying instead of sticking to the traditional.
Yes, they were the first, but the others copied. They followed. So what was it?
Sorry.
No, it's never, when this kind of questions is never, they work harder, it's never that. Or they work better, it's never that. It's the way they work. The way they work, the culture they had, was superior and different from the rest. Does that make sense? We will see this later. It's also very important. You can have very good animators, directors, blah, blah, but if they don't know how to work together, what will happen? You work in groups sometimes, right? And what happens when it doesn't work, right? Well, this is not different, it's the same. I will show you quickly the book. One of my favorites, by the way. It's called Creativity Inc. This is the book. Really good book. Really good. Really good. Yes? Awesome. Okay. Where are we?
class, I just fell in love with it. I just blew everything else away. Here was a program in which there was art, science, programming, all together in one place, in a new field. And it was wide open. Square, discover things, and explore, right at the frontier.
Wow. What is that? What is that? Name. I think it's one of the first CG animations in those times. Computer power was so small that the only thing you could do was squares, and what people would do is like the name of the university in 3D and make it move, right? So everybody did that at that time. Yes.
Computer animated film of his own left hand was the first step in the development of creating curved surfaces.
Hold on. Yeah. Did you saw that? That machine? Do you know what's that? What's that? No, it's not. It measures a 3D object. It's like a scanner, but manual. Yes. So what did he do? He scanned his hand. Yes. And that's the hand we saw at the beginning. Remember? Oh, sorry.
film of his own left hand was the first step in the development of creating curved surfaces, wrapping texture around those surfaces, and eliminating jagged edges. The footage debuted years later in the science fiction film Future World,
Do you see the hand?
which became the first use of 3D animation in a live-action film. Ed graduated with a PhD.
What is this? Another university. Is this Utah or not Utah? Who says Utah? It's,
No, it's not.
it looks very green for Utah, no?
A new technology ahead of its time. There was only one institution in the country willing to put millions of dollars into its further development.
The word of any center of activity spread rapidly, and it quickly became known that the place was New York Tech.
The other charter was, let's make computer graphics usable in television.
What? Let's make computer graphics usable in. Wow, he had the vision already, yeah?
It's exactly what I wanted to do.
Alex Schur, the president of New York Tech, hired Ed to spearhead the new computer graphics department to develop paint programs and other tools to create art and animation using the computer. Ed himself developed software called Tween that transformed hand-drawn animation into a digital medium. Artists could now draw and paint directly into the computer.
Wow!
We were creating a revolution, and the older techniques were really going to be passe.
These developments led Ed to the far-reaching goal of someday creating the first feature-length computer-animated film.
We were impacting the conventional industry, and it was going to be tremendous because of the applications that it would have.
The applications of Ed's developments led Star Wars director George Lucas to see them.
Okay. Yes. Yes. Star Wars. Right. Have you seen Star Wars? Everybody here? No? You haven't seen it? Who's seen Star Wars? Name? 3. When did you see Star Wars? Did you watch the first movie? What did you think when you saw the first movie?
It was weird.
Why do you do this with your hands? What do you think?
No,
Huh? Why?
it was weird at first.
Wait, why? Why?
Because that character.
What do you think about the special effects?
Oh, they're bad.
Very bad movie. The special effects or the movie?
At that time it was good, but now it's not. The new ones are fun.
I remember I was in Barcelona one day when this movie came out, the second one, Empire Strikes Back, and my uncle took me to the movie. He never took me to the movie, but he said, let's go to see this. I heard it's very good. And he took me to the movie, and I couldn't believe what I was seeing on the screen. I was like, what?
So yeah.
It was incredible! It was incredible. It really made an impression on me.
Potential in live-action film.
After I did Star Wars, I decided
Who's this guy? Yes, George. Very interesting biography also by George Lucas. George Lucas. George Lucas was a professor like me. No, I mean, he was a professor and he was teaching movie making in San Francisco. And then he made a movie with his students. And this movie became a bit famous. And then a rich guy, I think, gave him some money to make another movie. This movie is called American Graffiti. Do you know it? American Graffiti. American Graffiti. It's a famous movie because it explains how the youth in the 1960s in America behaved. American Graffiti. Voila, this one. 1973. Really, I don't think if you watch it you will understand anything at all, but it's like teenagers at the time. So he made this movie, it was very famous, and then after that, he convinced people to make Star Wars. Like, very quick career. Make sense? I mean, wow, like very interesting.
That I would begin to move into the world of computer animation. We had made this computer-controlled motion control camera, but I really wanted to get to the next level. I had a lot of ideas that couldn't be conquered in the traditional film technology.
George Lucas brought Ed Catmull aboard to form a new computer division at Lucasfilm to invent digital production tools, including a new digital editing system called EditDroid.
Okay, so what did Lucas do? He brought Ed. And why did he bring him in? And why did he want to use computer graphics in filmmaking?
Want to make something new. He had a lot of ideas. He wanted to go to another level.
Okay, I will ask this in the exam. What? Yes. Okay, but no, okay? No, and no.
A digital sound system, a laser scanner, and a powerful graphics computer. Ed recruited the most talented team of computer scientists to create the futuristic tools for Lucas.
Everybody who did it got there in some really odd way. People came from architecture, from physics, from art, from computer science, from everywhere. It somehow ended up in this new area. At that time, there was almost no graphics. It was a pretty small thing, and we were inventing the techniques we were using.
We had no computers. My wife remembers those days because I came home with them, right? You know, I didn't have any computer to say and hack on or anything like that. So I'd come home in regular hours and she woes the days when we started getting computers and I'd be carried away.
They really were kind of the outlaw outfit, the rebel group. And so that was kind of fun because, you know, we were doing all these things that nobody really understood the value of.
There was a big breakthrough to start doing things that were more artistic. Vol Libra, Warren Carpenter's film in 1980, was a huge deal, not just because it illustrated his academic technique, but it was a huge deal because it was a work of art.
Right. Vol Libre means delta wing in French. It's from Canada. They speak French. And why was this movie famous?
Because it was a lot of effects.
The effects were good and
Unknown.
what?
Unknown.
Yeah. And it was a work of art. Like it really, people say, wow, it's beautiful.
Interested in what's possible and what's beyond the boundary of what's known. When I came to Lucasfilm, these people were all very good, and it was refreshing and exhilarating.
Even in those days, everybody's dream was to make a feature-length movie with computers. At least all of us. That was what we wanted to do. Even that seemed impossible at the time.
If you want to make a picture of the world, you somehow have to get all that data in the computer. All the geometry, no matter what, whether it's hairs, skin, or whatever, is broken down into millions of little triangles. They're so small, it would just be a speck on the screen.
Yes. Everything you see in the movie is triangles. Yes. Everything. If you take a magnifying glass. Triangles.
The group soon realized it would take not thousands but millions of triangles to create the photorealistic images that compose the animated films we see today.
It was in a certain number. It was meant to be in a certain number because if you throw the big numbers at something, then you have to be able to handle them, and it makes you think about the problem in different ways.
Right then and there, that changed.
Do you get this problem they had at that time? Like imagine this screen, for example. How many pixels do you have? How many pixels? Yeah, give me a number.
1,000.
No.
4 times.
How many pixels on one side? From here to here?
1,000.
1,000. And from here to here?
7.
700. So how many pixels in total? Excuse me?
70.
7 million.
Let's see. I have 1,000 pixels from here to here, right? And 700 from here to here. So in total, how many pixels do I have? I'll give you 2 minutes. Think about it.
70,000.
1 million and
Okay, let's start again.
70,000.
How do you do this calculation? Anybody else?
1,000
17,000? How do you calculate that?
17,000.
1,000 by 700 is 17,000?
70,000.
70,000. No. 140 pixels. 140,000 pixels.
7 million.
7 million. No, almost. Okay, let's start again. Let's start again.
700,000.
Very good, Hulud. What took you so long? If I have 2 pixels here and 2 pixels here, how many pixels do I have? How do you do that?
Multiply.
Okay, now if I have 3 here and 2 here, how many?
6.
Why?
Multiply. 9.
6 or 9?
Because it's like
We
I have-
multiply.
the area.
3 square, 2 square?
I have 3 here and 2 here. How many pixels?
So like we're calculating the area.
6. So how do you
We multiply the
2 by 3, right? If I have 10 and 4, how many?
4.4.
Yes. Now I have 1,000 and 700.
700,000.
Okay.
I was close.
70.
Yes. Pretty close. Yes. So each pixel has 3 colors, and for each color we need at least 1 byte. So 3 bytes per pixel. So how many bytes for this screen?
3 by 7.
Yeah, give me the number.
1 billion.
1 billion.
2,100.
200 and
21 million and 21 billion.
21 billion.
Million. 2 million and 100,000.
Very good.
Yeah, 2 million.
Everybody got it? Somebody didn't got it? Can you make the calculation on the whiteboard? Right.
We don't need that at the exam, right?
I don't know. Byte with a Y, right? You know the difference, right? Put M. Instead of zeros, put 2.1 M. M means million, right? 2.1 M B. That's it. B capital because it's a byte, not a bit. Very good. Thank you. 2.1 megabytes for one picture. For one out of 24 every second. Yes? Do you know the memory of my computer in 1986? It was 32 kilobytes. 32 kilobytes was a lot at the time. I was like, wow. What size of a screen can I show full color with 32 kilobytes? Hmm?
Sorry. You were alive in 1960s? You were born now.
I got my first computer in 1988. It was an MSX Canon computer. It had 32 kilobytes of memory.
So when the game got started?
You know, Spain was a bit 3 years behind the rest of the world at the time. when the Giga started, when you were born, more or less. But anyway, what kind of size of screen can I show with 32 kilobytes? Can somebody tell me? How would you calculate that? You have to reverse that operation.
Almost 5.
No, just give me the number, Abby.
How much?
25.
So how do you reverse this operation?
32 divided 3.
32 kilobytes divided 3. Very good. So we have,
Equals to 10 point.
just say 10, right?
10, yes.
10K, and now what?
Divided by 2. Or,
Are you sure? By 2 or square root?
no, I did something else. I divided by 2, so it's 5 and 5,
So
and
this
then 5 times 1.
should be length by height, right?
Yes.
So let's assume these and these are the same, equal.
Yeah, 5 and 5.
So I have the square root on both sides. So I have the size is going to be the square root of, how much is that? 100. Yes. So I could, in 1986, okay, I could show size 700, 100 is this, right? This. You get it? Yeah. Or very big pixels. Yes. You understand now the problem of the computers, and it was not possible to show photorealistic things, but because they move very fast, the memory sizes. After 1990, it was starting to become easier to make. Yes? Because that. I may ask you to do this calculation in the quiz.
No.
Bonus, as the bonus question.
Our whole, kind of mindset about the sort of problem that we were trying to solve.
The group got the chance to prove their abilities when Lucas's Special Effects Division, Industrial Light and Magic, could not.
Okay.
So
You know,
it's plastic. So
who knows Star Trek? What is that?
I know it's saying.
What is it? Why is it famous? Anybody? The world is divided in two kinds of people. Star Wars people, Star Trek people.
Achieve a shot using conventional filmmakers. Albie Ray Smith led the group to create a spectacular sequence using all their talents and advanced techniques.
The camera's spinning and spiraling and jerking and panning. It's going through amazing motion. It's completely impossible for a gravity-bound real camera.
I think Ed and Albie realized in order to get in the game, you've got to put characters up on the screen, and that meant character animation, and that changed everything right there.
Aww. What's that boat? Name of the boat? You know it? Huh? Okay, so nobody watched the movie at home. Titanic?
I had gone to this computer graphics conference at Queen Mary.
They did a conference inside a boat. The Titanic.
I'll never forget it. We walk in and I'm just so depressed because like all these dreams for the last 2 or 3 years had kind of shattered. And
Questions?
John?
That was John. He just been fired.
Hal was a speaker at this conference. And he comes up and he was so excited. How's the toaster going? How's the pretty little toaster going? All that stuff. And I go, well, to be honest, he shelved it.
He told me that he was leaving Disney.
He had been fired already.
Yeah. You want to make a good picture.
Didn't tell me the circumstances, but that he was leaving Disney. And we spent a long time talking about what we wanted to do, what the possibilities were. Because this is the first time we really had a chance of getting real animators. We couldn't get them at Lucasfilm.
John was hired on the spot into Lucasfilm's Bay Area Computer Division under the inconspicuous title of Interface Designer.
Do you know this city? That is San Francisco. That is San Francisco. Yeah. Because my friend's office is that one building, the black one.
But this is half now, right?
Doesn't change so much.
I came in there, and immediately I was intimidated by all of the people who were around me. I mean, there were PhDs everywhere around me.
Our group was in love with animation, and we knew a lot about animation. We couldn't animate very well.
So that's us.
But we understood it.
And the first thing they did is they really challenged me with the idea of let's try to do a little film with characters that are done with a computer. I was inspired.
What is this? How do you know?
I thought it was a mouse with a.
You know, the limitations of what I had to work with. And then I went back and looked at the early Mickey Mouse.
What's interesting about Mickey Mouse?
It's an imaginary character.
Yeah, about the drawing, the way it's drawn. What comes to your mind when you see this? The way it's drawn. What's interesting?
It's very shape. That is walking. Shapes.
The shapes. What's the shapes? Yeah, what?
The long,
Very simple.
Very simple.
It's geometric shapes. How more geometric can you get than Mickey Mouse? So I just started drawing and I created this little character. His name is Andre.
John inspired the technical team to create new software that would enable him to animate the squash and stretch modes learned from traditional animation. The results were new flexibility, motion blur, and character action never before achieved with the computer.
I loved working with these guys and I kept challenging them. And then I was so inspired by all the work that they were doing. So it's become this way of working that the art challenges technology. Technology inspires the art.
John and computer scientist Bill Reeves put their animation skills to the test while working with Lucas's traditional special effects division, ILM, to bring a stained glass man to life through the computer.
It's really
Yeah, you know this one?
Yeah.
Really? Have you seen this one?
No, this one.
This was the young.
amazing, the meaning of these two things.
Look at this guy, it's scary, isn't it?
Different backgrounds.
Just me. Hey, he might be alive, he'll be offended.
Together.
That's so good.
Yeah, not bad.
Just design the thing exactly the way that your mind conceived it, not only shape-wise, but also lighting-wise, or anything. The visual effects were nominated for an Academy Award, and many Hollywood special effects wizards had no idea how it was done.
There were areas they could go to that they couldn't even consider in traditional special effects. Ed's group really equaled change.
To improve speed and resolution, Ed's team developed the PIXAR image computer, the most powerful graphics computer of its day. Its software transformed high-resolution imagery into 3D and was used in medical imaging and satellite photo analysis. But after years,
Right, okay, here, what's this? What's this?
PIXAR makes computer.
X-ray? No. What does it say? Real time? FFT. What's that? FFT. Anyone?
It makes pictures like
Fashion, forward. No, what does it mean, FFT? Fourier, fast Fourier transform. Fast Fourier transform. What's that? You've seen that? Are you upset about something? Have you seen the fast Fourier transform? Do you know what's the forbidden spot? Anybody? Okay, that's. They use it everywhere. Fast food transform, that's your homework for today.
Analysis.
Yes. Look up what is it, and the next day, after the quiz, whoever has the best explanation gets a bonus point. Not full mark, just the best explanation.
Two-dimension, fast, or time. That's called matrix.
Something really, yeah. Okay, so whoever wants to present what is the Fourier transform and the fast Fourier transform, you have a chance. Something like that. The fast Fourier transform is used everywhere for communication systems, in your phones, to compress images, signals to analyze, in oscilloscopes, everywhere. Make sense? But it's hard to understand and explain. It's not hard, but it's kind of very interesting idea. They could do a real time for it. It's very complicated computation, but this is real time, so it's pretty awesome for the time. When I was student, we could not do that with a PC. It was very computationally expensive.
Of trying to sell their high-end computer software to limited markets, George Lucas's interest was growing thin.
I think it was very esoteric, and it was very hard to make a business out of that. So once we had the editorial, we had all the things we needed, then I decided that I didn't want to run a company that sold software. And John and Ed were dead set on making animated films, and their dream was to make an animated feature. And I said, great, but to do this on a grand scale is going to take at least $30, $40 million investment.
How much?
30, 40.
We don't have it.
Why he doesn't have it? This guy is rich.
Maybe wasted it. That's some other maybe he don't have the workers.
Come on, he made the Star Wars. He's a billionaire. What do you mean? There is nothing. It's too much.
Like he
What do you mean I put the money?
maybe computer graphics and stuff were very
Not
expensive.
really
Expensive.
Not everybody knows how to use it.
I think he was going through a divorce, and his divorce was very expensive. And he had to sell a few things to pay for the divorce. But you can find out more in the books.
To keep the team together, Ed and Albie gained Lucas's support to spin off the division and call it PIXAR. Over the next year, they struggled to find the one investor who could foresee their potential. An unexpected visitor to Lucasfilm was Steve Jobs. Steve was 21 when he co-founded Apple Computer, revolutionizing the concept of user-friendly personal computing with the Apple II and the Macintosh. By the age of 30, he had become a multimillionaire, selling his innovative computers all over the world.
I was still at Apple at the time. I was turned on with by a guy named Alan Kay, who I worked with. And so Alan and I hopped in a car and rode up to Lucasfilm. So on the limousine ride up there, I explained to Steve what these guys were and what their history was, what the potential was. Then a very good thing happened. That was the first time I met Ed, and he shared with me his dream to make the world's first computer animated film. And I, in the end, ended up buying into that dream, both spiritually and financially.
So he was the investor.
Steve Jobs took a chance and invested $10 million to launch PIXAR.
How much?
30.
10 million.
The stuff that Ed and his team were doing was at the very high end, and I could see that it was way beyond what anyone else was doing.
We had the fortune to have Steve Jobs, who believes in passion and vision, and we responded to his passion.
It was really exciting when Steve was the one that bought our group. I remember Ed came to me and he says, let's do a little animated film, something that says who we are. And wanted something simple and geometric. And I was sitting there at the desk kind of thinking, and I just kept staring at this lamp, and it was sort of like a classic Luxo lamp. I just started moving it around like it was alive. I love bringing inanimate objects to life and maintaining the integrity of the object and pull personality and movement and physics out of that.
In 1987, Luxo Jr. became the first three-dimensional computer-animated film nominated for an Academy Award.
Luxo is the one that changed everything. It was a pure little story. And once we hit it with that, then it became the new goal for everybody.
Well, what do you think about this animation? Is it funny? Entertaining? Why?
Because it's not real.
No. Why is it entertaining?
Because he brings something from the real life to an object.
Because there's a story, right? And it's well told and in a funny way.
It was the combination of the new
It's so funny. It's really funny how he gives personality to the object.
and John really bringing a character to life that made people say, "Oh my God," you know, and the smart ones say, "Look at this potential."
Now, the Luxo lamp would become a symbol of PIXAR's optimism and determination.
The image I remember most is John Lasseter sitting there in that graphics lab with deadlines approaching, struggling with the machine, just one man, one machine, trying to produce this animation.
Early in PIXAR, we were sitting in a hallway, sharing one computer, me and Evan and Bill and Ed. We'd sit there and just kind of be sharing